into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back. I love.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, built by R&B Builders, live here on this Wednesday. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. Kentucky coming to town, and they know the schedule. It was announced last night. LSU going to be a part of the slate that plays Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Start time for Game 1. Paul Skeens and the crew will take the mound at 2 p.m. on Saturday for Game 1. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at RMB Builders. RMB Builders is on Instagram. You can always find them online at rmb-builders.com. And Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions. Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan, of course, over at Metropolitan Health Group. Make sure and get in touch with them. The Carpool Queen is here. We've got Lloyd here.
Yes.
Stewie is here.
Yeah, surprised that you're here.
Live on this Wednesday as we get ready for Kentucky and LSU starting on Saturday. We'll get you set up for that. We'll also talk to you a little bit about what's going on with the NBA Finals as Game 3 tonight as it shifts to Miami. Speaking of the NBA, Zion's having a baby. It was announced last night at the gender reveal.
Congratulations.
Zion. Congratulations to the happy couple.
Akima and Zion. Is
That's
that what
right.
Akima?
Akima.
Zekeem.
Akima.
Akima.
A-H.
Akima.
Former stripper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, stripper.
She has been, I was just reading about her. After the viral pregnancy announcement, many claim she's a gold digger of sorts, a stripper, and sold illegal credit privacy numbers to people, which is a baller move. Let me get that credit card.
I mean,
you just get it, copy it, give it back.
it's his personal business. He obviously knows her, and we don't. I'll just preface with that. But, like,
Well,
not
anytime-
impressed at
yeah, I
all.
mean,
Not
if you-
impressed. I'm shocked. Shocked.
Williamson's quote was, "My baby, you're going to see this at some point." They made a little video. I don't know what the future holds, but Mommy and Daddy love you, so I don't think there's a real plan to stay together.
No,
it doesn't
there's
seem
not a
like.
plan.
But congratulations anyway. Hopefully happy and healthy.
One of my favorite quotes I saw come out of this is that Zion should lose weight because she's going to stress him out. We're going to talk to Jacques coming up in hour 2 today, 8:15. Jacques will be here. I don't know if this is real or not, but they're saying in the forecast that the rain's supposed to start at 1 o'clock on Saturday.
Stop it. Who said that? You're lying. You're making that up.
Hunter Fournette, check the forecast. It's supposed to start raining at 1 o'clock.
Hell yeah, we'll get a night game.
I forgot Hunter was a meteorologist.
Man, if that messes with Skeens,
Oh.
that would be terrible.
Yeah. I don't know about the rain.
We'll hook back up with
On
Dr.
the rain.
Caparato.
Yeah, closer to time, right? We can't tell anything on a Wednesday.
No, it was
About
supposed.
a
It was
Saturday.
supposed to rain for the
Exactly. And they
Sunday.
were
the
off.
Sunday
Monday?
game, Monday game. Excuse me, and it was perfectly fine. And it rained after. but they got the game in. So these things fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
But if the game is decided, certainly when you have skeins, if that happens, that's a total series changer, right?
What?
Like if we do want to go down this path.
Wait, good. What do you mean? What would happen?
If he gets delayed, he's only. They're not going to bring him back out if there's a rain delay.
Why?
Because you just don't do that to pitchers. You don't
you
put that kind of arm stress out, then have to get them re-warmed up.
I mean, once they start pitching.
Right. So
Okay.
if it gets delayed in the third inning, that's it.
You got to bring another one in.
Yeah, that's usually how they operate. So that would be in most cases. I don't want to say always.
Always.
I mean, it depends on how long the delay is. I mean, more
yeah,
than anything.
so like, what if it's like a 30-minute delay?
Possibly could be keep him warm. You
Yeah,
know? I mean,
yeah.
it's just it's
It's
very
terrible,
touching.
yeah.
It's a bad situation, man. It's not where you want to be. Saturday, the 10-day forecast. I'm reading out here at weather.com. Partly cloudy with afternoon showers or thunderstorms. High of 91. Wind south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles. Chance of rain 50%. Thank you, weather.com.
Okay. Well,
50% chance of rain. They say that it could start raining. Seriously, like right after, it says after lunch.
it does?
Yeah.
Okay, Hunter was right then.
I mean, oh my God.
That's
This is
wild,
going to be
isn't
a
it?
nightmare. This is
I
going to
hope
be a
not.
nightmare.
We still have time for that to change. Let's be positive.
So you do throw skeins on Sunday?
No, Katie, we're being real.
You have to be positive.
I mean, I don't know. What's the forecast on Sunday?
It just says cloudy over here. A little partly cloudy.
Cloudy with a chance of
Precipitation,
meatballs.
20% at 2 p.m.
Really? It's at 2 also?
I don't know when they announce it. I guess it depends what happens Saturday.
Well, you gotta figure the start time too. They hadn't even announced the start time for Sunday. The only start
Right.
time that's been announced has been Saturday, which we said is going to be 2:00. So LSU Kentucky squaring off in Game 1 of the regional. Some other news around the regional is the slate has been set early this morning. They didn't find out this morning until the bid was accepted by the NCAA, as both Knoxville and Hattiesburg had to submit a bid to the NCAA because they were both 2 seeds that were not scheduled to host super regionals. So they looked at the bids, and Southern Miss won. So a huge win to start off for the Golden Eagles in the Tennessee series, as Tennessee is traveling to Hattiesburg to start that series. That game will begin Saturday at 2:00 as well. So the slates are set. Friday, the series are South Carolina at Florida will be the first game. Duke at Virginia will be another game on Friday. Oral Roberts at Oregon, and Indiana State is traveling to TCU, as Indiana State is the national seed there at 14, and TCU, of course, went into Fayetteville and took the Arkansas Regional, but they will be hosting as Indiana State makes it down to Fort Worth, which has got to be about 120 degrees at this point of the year, as Indiana State is traveling to a very different climate for their super regional game. And then on Saturday, the start times for Saturday is 11 a.m. Alabama will take on number 1 seed Wake Forest. Texas will play at Stanford. Kentucky, of course, at LSU at 2:00, and then Tennessee at Southern Miss at that same start time at 2 p.m.
Decisions made? Like, who
It's all based on
decided?
television.
Like, no, who decided where? Like, who decided Hattiesburg over Knoxville?
I'd imagine that was submitted to the NCAA. This is an NCAA event, so
right,
they
but,
were.
like, what goes
That's
into
what
that?
I was just looking at.
Hotel accommodations, the ability to obviously put them up at the ballpark. I mean,
how easy it is to get there, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, just the accessibility
Yeah.
of getting in and out of trying. I mean, just
Which one's going to make us more money?
Did Hattiesburg not host a super regional recently?
They
did.
hosted last
hosted-
year.
It was a super regional last
LSU.
year?
Yeah, they won.
Yeah,
the
LSU
regional.
lost in the regional,
right.
and then Ole Miss came in and swept.
That's right.
Southern Miss to go to Omaha.
That's weird to me that they would be having 2 years in a row.
Southern Miss.
In Hattiesburg.
Well-
Golden Buzzards. That's our
Is that what
ULL.
that's y'all call them?
That's like State and Ole Miss's ULL for y'all. Southern Miss. Like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
dog on them all the time.
Yeah.
Well, they're hosting a super, and
They are.
Mississippi
and
State's
we're
at
not in.
Chilling.
We ain't seen a game.
But the decision may initially come as a shock to Volunteer fans, but the decision was made with viable reasons. The Golden Eagles posted more wins on the regular season. They won their conference tournament as opposed to Tennessee getting stomped out in the first round. and obviously they proved to have a good track record after hosting last year. So I think that's kind of what the viability.
That's fine.
There is no better fan base to point and laugh at than a couple, right? Like the South Carolina women's basketball fans are awesome to go at. I mean, they are so sensitive. Florida State football fans were pretty funny to go at. Tennessee baseball fans are up there in the top echelon of people that you love to troll. I mean, because I'm sure that LSU fans are at the top of everybody's list. But for an LSU fan, Tennessee basebal fans are just about as good as you can get.
Should have seen the comments under
just
the Southern
melt at
Miss
everything.
post.
Oh, I can
Oh my
imagine.
God!
I can't imagine.
The disrespect.
You mean to tell me this
What have they
team?
done?
Exactly. Big Tennessee
Yeah, big
baseball.
Tennessee baseball.
What's he ever done?
What's he ever done?
Like the disrespect for them not hosting a super regional.
I'm sure they
They're
think
mad
that.
about that.
I'm sure they
Yes.
think that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that would be like, I mean that would be like, Mississippi State in football being
Yeah.
like, respect us,
Right.
like for what?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
we won 10 games that one time.
yeah, right. I mean,
Go Dak.
y'all been good, pretty good. Yeah, like it's exactly like that. I mean, y'all been number one a couple of times, but I mean,
Good day.
Go Dak.
I need a shirt that says "Go
You
Dak"
do.
at this
you
point.
do.
Dak went. You almost got a chance to see him.
I know. I miss him all the time. It's weird. We're like two ships passing
Under
in the
the-
night. He
I'm
doesn't
under the
even realize
post.
it.
When they announced like the Southern Miss Regional or Super Regional, what a joke! We'll use it as motivation.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you pull
Spin it.
Can you pull those people up? I'd just love to see the people that
Yeah.
say the we and like
Right.
you're 310 pounds.
Go get him, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, you got my permission to beat the ever living hell out of Southern Miss.
We gonna
All right,
beat that
thank
ass. We'll use it as motivation. Like,
Thanks.
what are you gonna be motivated for?
Where are you gonna be when the game is going on?
Southern Miss.
In my backyard.
Hattiesburg.
I'm gonna go watch it at Tennessee Stadium. They'll probably will do a watch party. Like
It is
they'll
too
probably
bad.
fire up the jumbotron.
Yeah, they
Get in
will.
there. Pretend like they're hosting.
Justin Abington, you guys are talking about other fan bases, and LSU has tiger droppings. Hello, pot, meet, kettle. No, again, if you go back just about 3 minutes ago, I said that everybody loves to troll LSU fans because we are insufferable. I mean, I'm not dodging the hate that people have for LSU fans and just for how psychotic LSU fans can be.
But it's different. They're not like, they don't melt. Like LSU has like a leg to stand
I mean,
on.
Tiger Drop. There is a section. I mean, there's a portion of every fan base
Yeah.
Katie.
that is insufferable.
But LSU's
right?
better than most of these teams
Katie,
in every
I mean-
sport. So it's like it's different than like trolling like Florida State, who's been terrible for years and years. It's like whatever, Like LSU has a leg to stand on, so why not? Who's that? What is that?
This is after the announcement.
This is
Oh.
Scroll past that story. Keep scrolling.
Oh yeah, go.
These are all Tennessee people responding.
They hate us because they hate
hate
us.
us.
Okay.
rigged.
Rigged.
my
There we
favorite.
go. There we go. You knew there was going to be at
Terrible.
least one in there.
Rigged.
Rigged.
Oh man.
That's
Hattiesburg.
I mean, I can't disagree, right? I would be the same way.
How many do they seat?
You got to go to Hattiesburg?
How many does Hattiesburg hold?
I don't know. That stadium is not great.
But it looked
Better than it
it,
used to be. It's improved, but still.
what I think that they did. I think the way that it looked on the way,
That's amazing.
the way that it looked on
Poverty.
television, yeah. Tennessee fans, as like they come in hot. And
They do.
But they get it served up right back to them.
Yeah,
Well, I
they
mean,
do.
it's gotta be frustrating to be a Tennessee fan. I mean, like
Yeah.
they were good in football when it was like the SEC was like disrespected.
Right.
So like when the SEC got good and everybody was like, man, the SEC's dominant. Like Tennessee was like a whipping. Like,
Yeah,
they were like a
they got left
doormat.
behind.
Yeah, I mean, people were like, yeah, Tennessee used to be good in the early BCS era,
2001.
right? I mean, they won the first BCS title.
Oh, God, when was 2001?
99.
99.
They beat Florida State.
I wore a Tennessee hat. When I went to Mississippi State,
T.
I wore
Martin.
a Tennessee hat around.
Peerless
Hey,
Price.
Philip
They were
Fulmer.
great.
I mean, that team was,
They were
they were loaded.
They were
They were
great.
loaded.
Kind of like Florida State.
I mean, they were coming down into Louisiana and getting guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Raynaud Thompson was a linebacker out of St. Aug that ended up at. I mean, they had the speedster from Zachary that went over there, Lester Scott.
Didn't John Emery's dad go to Tennessee? So somebody's parents from LSU went to Tennessee, I think.
I don't know if it's Emery's dad, but I mean, for a while, I mean, Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
He
Peyton.
was sitting in New Orleans.
Somebody tell us how many people that stadium can hold.
Oh, I got it right here.
Gerard Jackson, get off my hometown. It's my hometown too, so I can hate on it.
5,200 is what
Not
they
bad.
average in attendance.
Oh.
Okay.
Is what they average? What's the capacity of the stadium?
Let's see. I would imagine something like 6,000.
What's the capacity of the box?
Is it 10, 11?
I think you can get up to 12 in there.
Well, I mean, if you have standing room only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so like a weekend like this, you can pack them in. You
Yeah.
can probably put like 13,000 in there,
Right.
but comfortably, you probably like sit
Yeah.
11.
Okay.
But I mean, like the old box was 5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I'm telling you, like I think I've told the story here. Like I remember being at games where they were sitting people down the foul line,
Yeah,
like
In
So
the
weird.
field of play.
in the field of play, like
can't
in like the aluminum bat era. That was like you were sending rockets off of the bat.
terrifying.
Like, I mean,
barrels this big.
behind no net.
No
you know
ball.
What I mean?
So
Like you got. I mean, I
terrifying.
remember being like
Did you
Jordan's
ever sit
age.
there?
Hell yeah. I remember they did a turn back the clock game. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people in the chat that were there that night. And Tulane and LSU wore throwback, like legitimate throwback uniforms to like one of their first era of baseball that were there. And that night at the box, there was probably 10,000 people there
my
because
God.
Tulane fans came in,
Yeah.
LSU fans were there, and I remember, Skip. Skip was best friends with the fire marshal. You know what I mean? Like, the fire marshal ain't shutting us down.
Yeah.
So Skip's like, hey, what do you want me to do with all these people? Yeah. I mean, I guess you could put them in the field if you wanted to.
Nobody ever hits it over there.
I mean, like, they had, like, caution tape up, and people were, like, on the field watching the game.
That's
They were
I
like
mean,
taking a knee so the person behind them could see. It was like double. It was like stadium
Unbelievable.
seating on the field. Like people were sitting on the tarp.
it was.
It's awesome. It's one of the cooler. Like
That
there's
is
some
cool.
pictures for sure, but that would never ever happen again
No.
because
Never.
I mean,
I mean,
it
they're,
takes
they're,
one.
they're putting
Yeah.
they're putting nets down the foul lines
Yeah.
now. I mean, like it's
You're not getting off the
200 yards
field.
away from the plate, behind a net now. I mean,
Oh my! I can't
It
believe
was-
they trusted them to do that.
oh my God!
Like you're on the field. You
I
could have
mean-
easily done whatever you wanted and caused a ruckus.
Not only that, I mean, like people running into the field. I mean, like you
Try
got
to catch
some
a foul
college
ball.
kid over
Yeah.
there. Like, you want me to go tackle Todd Walker?
Exactly. I mean, it's like the amount of heckling you could do if you're like right next to the right fielder.
Wait, is
5,200 capacity
Jeff
at Southern
said
Miss.
Tennessee's capacity is 4,387?
Yeah, because 4 years ago, they were terrible at baseball.
but God, I thought
you
their
know what I
stadium
mean?
was
Like
bigger than
they
that.
were never, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they were like, what?
That's wild.
I'm sure they're planning a renovation.
No, I think they're
They
putting
are a
$30 million
$56
into it.
million renovation.
Yeah.
Oh
for
yeah,
this
remember
season.
because that was the big fuss whenever Tony Vitello, so like LSU was looking to hire a coach and he was the hottest name, and then Tennessee comes to the table with, we just pumped whatever $1 million into our baseball, because of pretty much what Vitello's done with the program. So you thought that however much money they put into the baseball program, I'd imagine Vitello's going to see some of that too. And so I don't know if Vitello essentially used LSU to be able to get a raise and obviously
I'm
get the
sure.
funding,
Yeah.
but that's what it feels like happened.
I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how that world works.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Leverage.
Yeah, whoever Vitello's representation is,
If you
tells
didn't
them-
do that,
Yeah, right. I
we
mean,
could have a talk.
he's not staying if you're still playing in the 3,600 capacity.
Yeah. First things
I
first.
mean, he's got a chance to go to this, this Taj Mahal down in Baton Rouge where they're sitting, 10-5 a night.
That they hate.
Yeah, right.
That they want to do
wanna
one.
upgrade.
Yeah.
And I mean, I saw where Vanderbilt's pumping money into their facility.
Have you seen what it looks like?
Yeah.
It looks insane.
It
I haven't
does.
seen it.
And I mean, it almost looks so good where it puts pressure on the top players in the league to either renovate and keep up,
This is a
or
resetter.
to people like Tennessee where you better catch up.
Well, they're about to, yeah.
Right, but I mean, like that's the type of pressure that
Yeah.
these facilities are putting on other programs. Now, look, LSU doesn't have to play catch up; they need to play keep up, right? Like they're caught up, they've got the facility. I mean, anybody who shows up to the box this weekend is going to be in awe.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people there last weekend for the first time in their lives where you could see them. We're like, this place is different. I mean, it's a different place to watch a baseball game, but you still have to be able to adapt to what the new age is, what the new qualification, what new wins in recruiting, and Vanderbilt's pledging to that. Obviously Tennessee is pledging to that. Other schools around the conference and league are pledging to that, and LSU is still the big dog on the block, but doesn't mean you have you can't keep up. I mean, you have to stay relevant and.
And it's not as if there isn't things that you want that could make it better. It's not like it's, LSU there's things that need to be done.
Yeah.
Essentially for the LSU baseball field. Like there's things that could make it better. And like you
Always.
said, it's not, strip it down. The guts are good. It's like you can do what Vandy's doing essentially and kind of renovate, add on, and put some things in place where it makes it more pleasurable to go to a baseball game as opposed to kind of the feeling you get when you walk in there. For some people, obviously there's no separation between church and state of the old guard and the young guard. And so that's what pretty much all you need to do is give them a place to sit and they'll stop getting kicked out because it'll just be them. Like when you have 55-year-old men sitting in the student section with their kid, it's like, well, this is what causes the rub.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, I'll cuss in front of my kids. Like, don't get in the student section. There's obviously going to be conflict and the student will lose every time. If you give them a place to go, then the party starts a little bit more.
Yeah, they need a better outfield situation.
Yeah,
in my
I think
opinion.
that's the first thing, and they'll move the bullpens, I'd imagine, at some point.
The bullpen.
It's crazy.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's Chicago Cubs.
I mean, that is. I mean, the ball still rolls on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like you something called time. Throw the ball back to the bullpen. I mean, what is this?
I
He
know,
gets
why
by
did
and
they
runs
put
to
that
the
there when
umpire.
they
I mean,
built
you
the
spend
new one?
all this money on this facility and you forget the bullpens.
I think they wanted it's probably like an ode to the old box.
really?
Kind of keep
That's
some of
why?
the nostalgia. I would imagine
I mean,
that's
It
the
was
only.
like that before too.
I could have thought of a couple other things that we could have put up there rather than keeping the bullpens in the line of sight in the field.
Right, there's another way to
I
do
mean,
it.
a decade plus after opening up the place. I mean,
It was
put them under
nice.
the bleachers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
put 'em in the
put them
outfield.
somewhere where you can't. I mean, where the ball can't go into the game.
You still have to have a like a spotter.
Personal protector.
Yes, which
Yeah,
is
that's weird.
great
Yeah,
job.
This is Vandy.
Oh, wait, this is
Vandy.
Yeah, that's
the renderings
That's
for
the
the-
this is the
renderings
new
for the
renderings. What is that? Like a glass?
Those are,
ceiling?
those are suites.
Like the roof.
Oh,
thing,
yeah, yeah. I
whatever.
mean, it's
You
like
know
a
what I'm saying?
overhang, you
Yeah,
know,
glass
for-
overhang. That's
yeah.
cool.
I mean,
But it'd be plastic. This one looks the
Well,
home
yeah,
run
I
deck
mean-
looks awesome. I thought we put
That's
glass in.
nice. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Clear,
That's
whatever.
part of it.
Oh, that's
See,
cute.
that's awesome.
Wait, where is that? That's in.
it's right in the middle of their
Right.
campus.
That's
No,
in
no,
left
no.
field.
That's left field.
Yeah, where they
Okay.
have that big wall.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I like that.
That's the football stadium behind it, right?
Yeah.
I heard
They're
pushing-
renovating that, too.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, they are.
SEC money.
I mean,
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to spend all this money on? I mean, like,
Jeez.
in a school like Vanderbilt, like, it is incomprehensible to me that Vanderbilt doesn't have a softball
I
program.
know you hate that.
Well,
Oh, I
just-
didn't even
so
know
bad.
that.
Is that unbelievable?
Jordy hates.
How do you get away with that?
Seriously, how do you get away with that in the league? Like, if I'm Greg Sankey, I'm like, no, you're not getting all of this money.
Especially as good as their baseball team is.
Not
What
only that,
happened-
like,
what
I'm sitting in the
happened
middle
to
of the
Title IX?
South.
Yeah,
You know how many
There has to be
people
a
would like to
reason
go to
for that.
Vanderbilt to play? I mean, like, I could imagine if you were like, hey, we're starting a softball program tomorrow, you could probably field a top 25 team.
Yeah.
Just by recruiting Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like,
Just the high school kids in
well,
your
I mean,
area.
there's
yeah.
not a lot
Yeah.
of things to do in Tennessee in the summertime. I'm sure a lot of the female athletes are playing softball, right? I mean, look at Tennessee. Tennessee just won the league in softball. They just won the
Why?
SEC. And, I mean, Vanderbilt's getting this – they're getting
Pass.
cut these $30+ million checks from the SEC, and they don't even have a softball program. Like, I mean, I don't want to lose my mind on this. It's just like there's so much money that they have to build this facility.
Okay, they're saying that it's due to lack of space for an on-campus softball park.
Oh.
So they said volleyball was a
Okay.
more feasible option due to the lack of space. So they're adding. They didn't have volleyball either.
Oh.
They're adding SEC volleyball.
Oh,
for
lack of
2025.
space, huh?
So what's the excuse on volleyball? They have a gym.
I know.
I mean, like, it's not like we need an acre here.
I know.
They finally just got.
No,
wild.
it's that they had these old white men behind doors saying nobody's saying anything.
Don't need no
Right.
damn
Nobody's
softball
complaining.
team.
Like, and we got all this money. And finally, somebody was probably like, "Yo, it's time to come off a couple of
Yeah.
million and let's start a program."
Right.
You know, I mean, like you're sitting in the most competitive athletic league in the country, and you're sitting in a hotbed of recruiting talent. Like, this is almost criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is a crime.
This is a
Yeah,
crime.
I know.
It's a competitive advantage.
They're saying it would have to be an off-campus softball
Get
park.
outta here.
and they
Okay,
don't
well, then
think
build
it's-
one.
They don't think that would be
Well, then build
equal.
one. Like, I mean,
know.
you're sitting in one of the best cities in the world.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, you're going to tell me that you can't buy a plot of land to develop a soul. If there's
Right.
one around campus, pump some money into it.
Right.
I mean,
It is weird, but it's weird that they didn't have volleyball before now either.
that is criminal.
That
Volleyball,
strange.
volleyball is. I didn't know they didn't have volleyball. Volleyball is.
There's no excuse.
I mean, like
No.
that
All you
is-
need is a net.
Like
I
the athletic
know.
director should be like they should be held to the fire on
Yeah.
that. I mean, like Greg Sankey should be like, I'm not giving you this full distribution
Yeah.
of cash
Yeah.
until you give me a plan on how you're developing volleyball and softball. These are two headline Title IX sports. I mean,
That's what blows my mind. Is that seems like something the NCAA would be foaming at the mouth for, because the reason, I mean, way back in my day, when there was no NIL or transfer portal, the reason that you couldn't pay the players is because of the disparity in how would you set up the income because of Title IX. Because everybody has to be created equally and all this, so they would have to pay, the football team would have to get the same amount of money as the softball team. And they're like, well, that's just not how it's going to work. And eventually it became what you have now, which is like, oh, let's do it individually on name, image, and likeness. So if the softball player brings in money, then she can have that money. But before that, you had to have a softball team. You had to have like a matching number of sports for the same amount of like male sports you had to have female, like scholarship wise. For them to get away with not having a softball or volleyball team is
2023.
absurd.
Wait,
Yes.
are they
2023.
exempt from Title IX? Someone in the chat saying they're exempt. Vandy's exempt from Title IX.
no
Because of-
way.
Aren't they like private?
No way.
Because they're private?
I guess.
I mean,
Nobody's exempt from Title IX.
you can't be
I
exempt
didn't
from
think
Title
so.
IX. It's a federal law.
That's what I thought.
I mean,
We're private.
We're private. Sorry, we can't. We don't do
Don't
those
get to come
things.
on
they're
my
getting
golf
away with
course.
something though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
they're
guess-
sitting in the Southeastern Conference without volleyball and softball, and they're getting the distribution
Yeah.
of $30+ million annually to play sports.
But I guess if they're saying it's not equal to have off-campus facilities for softball and volleyball, I mean, if that truly is their excuse and there truly is no space, like that's how they're getting away with it. Because then you got to take everybody off campus to, it wouldn't be fair.
They're bowling instead.
Bowling and lacrosse, which tracks.
I mean, anybody that would buy the space logic from any college. I mean, I've been to Nashville. I've seen Vanderbilt's campus. It is crammed into the
It
middle of the
is, me
city.
too.
But rather than not having a softball program,
Yeah.
let's buy the Costco that just
Something,
shut
yeah.
down over there.
Yeah.
And let's make that a salt. Like, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
we got billions. I mean, like,
I know.
I mean, if they audit us, we're gonna look like the NCAA.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like we're gonna look like we're just sitting around like doing nothing but counting our money. I mean,
Look like the PGA Tour.
It's strange.
oh gosh.
No, he said that was a joke.
The no Title IX. But I mean, having a
I was like
bowling
Googling it. Like, how could this be?
team is pretty. I think it's essentially the same thing. It's like this doesn't exist. It runs its stick. Doesn't make any money or cost any money. It's just a team. Like I don't think
Right.
Vanderbilt bowling is
Well, and is
bringing
there
in
is there a Vanderbilt bowling SEC bowling lane or whatever you call it on
I
campus?
think they just
like
go
they
to
have
the-
room for that?
I don't know. Go to the Rock and Bowl.
That is amazing. I mean, that really and truly, that is.
I didn't know that.
That is
Yeah.
amazing in 2023 that you can get away with that. Really.
It is.
And still collect the check.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing is that they're the only school that doesn't have. It's like glaring now that you look at it. That every other team in the SEC has a softball team. I
Does
just thought it was a
Tulane? 'Cause
foregone
someone
conclusion.
brought that up. Does Tulane have softball?
Maybe not, but it would make sense if Tulane does it. They're not getting an
Right.
SEC distribution of payment.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, like on campus, like that used to be the argument. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, 25 years ago, even at LSU, they were kind of like battling over, like, I don't know if we have enough money to support all this. Now, you got enough money to pay everybody. You know what I mean? You can pay Harold Perkins his $1 million if he deserves that, and you can also pay the softball players whatever they deserve. I mean, they got enough money for everybody to stay rich that's rich now and make everybody else who's been, like you've been stealing the money off their sweat to finally start paying them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to say like, well, we don't have space for a softball, like, hey, buddy, don't say that in public. Don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
Because if they were like, well, let's see how much you got in the bank if you can buy some space. Well, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Don't
Never mind, because we got billions in there that we don't want you to know about. You know what I mean? Like, we're just kind of sitting on this stack of cash that, I mean, we've been not having a volleyball program. Do they have a gymnastics program? I'm just starting to think out loud. Like, I've not seen.
What all they missing.
I mean, I've not seen Vanderbilt's. Not that
I guess.
Let's see what's going on here.
There's such an afterthought, in all of these.
Yeah, they do. They have gymnastics.
Okay.
I was trying to picture it too. I don't.
Okay, they have basketball, cross country, lacrosse, swimming, track and field, bowling, golf, soccer, tennis, and volleyball for women.
Bowling?
So they have volleyball?
They have volleyball, yes.
Well, why did it say it was coming in 2025? You sure?
Oh, they don't have an actual team yet, but there's a spot for it on the website.
It's listed on the website.
Yeah, they put it on the website.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're probably like, hey, get that up on the website.
Hurry up.
Because it just
we
takes
can trick some dumbass that drives over there and reads it. It sounds like we got a volleyball team.
Yeah, see?
Exactly. Put softball in there too.
Got me.
That's amazing.
It really is. Like, who knew?
That's right. But that's what it is. Vanderbilt is so out of sight, out of mind. Like, you wouldn't even notice that they didn't have a softball team because they don't.
It's not like
you wouldn't be surprised.
That would be the type of stuff. Like, if I'm the athletic director, I would think like, I might be in trouble. I mean, I might be in trouble. I might
get in trouble?
lose my job. I mean, like,
you think so, Ron?
Is anybody like paying attention here? I mean, nobody's saying anything. It's probably how. It's probably how the guy from the PGA feels. What's his name? Jay Monahan.
Jay Monahan. Yes.
Jay Monahan, who is the.
It's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
Don't come looking at our books.
The commissioner of the PGA, who has now, I don't know if you've seen this story, but the PGA Tour, LIV, and the DP World Tour Golf have announced that they are going under one umbrella, that they are all going to be a part of one league. So if you've been paying attention, and look, I know we don't talk a lot of golf here, but this is a national story that's going to pick up a lot of speed here. LIV Golf came in over the last 2 years and has raided the PGA Tour, right? I mean, they have gone after every single heavy hitter, including Tiger Woods, in which Tiger Woods turned down $800 million from the LIV Golf Tour for him to become the Phil Mickelson of the tour, right? Now, they went to Phil and offered him, what, $200 million, I believe was Phil, $250 million?
Yes. And
I mean, like, they went to Tiger and said, Tiger, we'll give you $800. And Tiger was playing, for the PGA, kind of standing on some moral ground, saying, no, look, I'm not going to take the money. And look, Tiger is he got billions in the bank, got $1 billion in the bank, for sure. I don't care if you've got $1 billion or if you've got $1 in the bank. $800 million means something to everybody. And for Tiger Woods to say no to $800 million, and then less than a year later, the guy that he said no for, I mean, I'd imagine that was a big solid for the PGA Tour commissioner, right? Like when Tiger was like, no, I'm staying. I'm not taking the money. That's a big win for Monahan and the PGA, right? And then less than a year later, the commissioner does not pick up the phone, does not make a call, doesn't send an email, doesn't reach out to anybody's agent representation or anybody individually, and they read on social media on Tuesday morning that LIV and the PGA have now combined forces. There's no way he makes this. I mean, I expect his resignation, his letter of resignation, or him to be fired by the middle of the summer. I mean, I don't expect him to make July 4th.
He got
really.
a promotion.
For all of what happened today, let the news cycle get down a little bit
because
the PGA Tour members like Colin Morikawa, like Rory, Rory McIlroy behind closed doors has to be irate that you've sent me out into press conferences for the last year. I've got sound bites and video and images now that are going to live on forever about me defending the PGA Tour, standing up for our moral high ground that we are selling, that why we're sticking here and staying, and having your back. And then we have to wake up and find out that you're in bed with them? We're in business with these people?
It's absurd.
And I turned down. How much do you think Rory turned down?
A 5.
I mean, if Phil got 250 and Tiger turned down 800, Rory's next on that list. He's got to be somewhere around 500 to 600 million. And I know he's got a ton in the bank, but still, to say no to a $500 million takes balls.
Not only to say no, to become the face of the PGA for what? What did I get out of this in return? Whenever the guy that sent me my commander-in-chief that sent me the marching orders to go out there and be strong for the PGA, like whatever the fuck that means, sorry. But it's like, you're what nobility does the PGA have? Because the reason that Jay Monahan is doing this is because he's terrified to be exposed. It's how much money the PGA has.
Well, he knows if they go to court and they open up the books, like Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like Vanderbilt's thinking, like, if they crawl up here and they audit us and they see, like, we're sitting on all this cash and we're not sharing it with anybody and we don't have a softball program and a volleyball program, we're all in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all gonna like face some pushback. Like, we're gonna be in a spot. I mean, PGA saying, you know what? We'll go in business with you. Before you open up our books and take us to court and, really expose how much money because if you remember, Phil Mickelson's gripe to the PGA was that you're handcuffing us. Mm-hmm. You're not giving us our name, image, and likeness. We're tweeting all this stuff out. We're on social media, and you're keeping the money from it? Like, show us how much you're making. And, he was like, no. And he was like, well, I'm going to live. And he was like, no, you won't, because that's blood money. Mm-hmm. They're Saudi Arabians. He's like, watch me. No, you won't. And he did.
Because he needed it.
Exactly. Well, Phil needed it. Right. But then Phil kind of got over there and was like, yo, fellas, it's not that bad over here. You know what I mean? Like, we're all flying charter. We're all, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty cool over here. Brooks.
About their human rights
record. Brooks Koepka, you want $150 million? And Koepka's like, well, why not? Dustin Johnson, you want $100 million? Like, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? And meanwhile, like, Colin Morikawa, who's a top 5 golfer in the world, turns down a 7-figure payday, 8-figure payday, right? And he wakes up and tweets out yesterday morning, cool to find out the news on Twitter.
I know. So what do these players do? They turn down LIV because of the Saudi
So now if I'm in business, if I'm LIV and we're in business together, I don't owe you any money.
Like, if you didn't want to be part of LIV and now you are. Now you're all combined and you were taking a moral stand. What do you do now?
Well, if you're a golfer, you're limited on where you can go now to make a living.
Yeah.
So, for somebody like Rory McIlroy, he can drift off and, you can never hear from Rory again and he'll live, his grandkids will live a great life.
Right, but don't you want to keep playing in whatever this tour is? Like, what's it going to be named, by the way?
I'm sure it's going to be named LIV.
You think so? God, that's going to be wild.
They'll rebrand it. It'll be like the PGA Tour something, because they want to keep the PGA, but this is a separate entity from the PGA. What they're building is like a commission for gaming, essentially. So this will be just the sports entity that they'll be renaming. So the PGA will stay intact as a 501c3. So they're non-profit, just so y'all are wondering.
I saw that.
They're doing good stuff out there.
And what's the tournament structure going to look like? Because isn't LIV 54 and PGA 72? So then what do they do? What's it going to be? They
might play like LIV-style events where it's more fun, and you'll see, come out here in shorts. It'll be a different environment wherever it's kind of raucous. You saw the hole-in-one or whatever that Chase Koepka hit. Mm. They'll probably have like those structured events where it's like, okay, these are the fun events. Then you have your stuffy events with the PGA. And they also, one of the other leagues I think that is in the merger is from England. And so it makes it more of this is just me like thinking out loud. Like I heard somebody on a podcast mention it makes it more like F1 to where you can go to these destination cities now and play golf and set the whole thing up around it so it becomes a global game. Yeah. As opposed to just, it feels very Americanized right now. Or at least that's what gets all the attention. So this allows it with the Saudis have unlimited money.
Yeah, right.
So imagine what that looks like. Because for everything that Jay Monahan said, for him to have to go back there and openly be a hypocrite,
no doubt.
Imagine what the number was, to where he's like, do you mind going out there and like egg on your face
my
for
God.
possibly lose your job? He was like, yeah, I think I'm cool with that.
Know.
I know, and you probably won't, but I mean, or I wonder what. Like, do you even throw out a number with those people? If you
No.
say 500 million, they're like, are you here?
No doubt. I
$1
mean,
million.
$10 billion, and they're like, okay, it's well, fuck. Like I should have negotiated higher.
right.
So I don't know how that negotiation went, but it was obvious that it felt inevitable to a sense because of how Rory was acting, and he stopped bashing LIV, and it got very quiet on that front to where it became more of, look, we'll play with the guys. It's whatever. It's not as big a deal as y'all think. And now this comes out to where obviously blindsided, but I think it was just a whole bunch to do, like a whole bunch to do about nothing. You know, at the end of the day, if you're upset about like the whitewashing in sports with what the Saudis were trying to do, I mean, where do you get your gas?
Right.
Okay.
Like you're buying a product also.
So isn't the U.S. Open next week?
Yes.
So then LIV players are going to be there.
Well, they're always
Yeah,
a
they've
part
been-
of the majors.
If you qualified, you've been able to
but
play
like,
in the
what's it
majors.
going to be like now? Because aren't people going to
No,
be
they don't start.
pissed?
It won't start until 2024. Like the,
I kind of,
Like that.
I kind of believe that it's not as big of a deal as it set out to
Yeah.
be. Like
Yeah.
at this point, I think people are kind of like, "Hey, we just want the best golfers on the course."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you can just make that happen, we'll watch.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
Brooks
you know,
Koepka put everything on its ear whenever
Even-
he's a LIV Tour player that came in and won a PGA championship.
right. And in his reaction to it
Mm-hmm.
was very kind of like, you know, I mean, he laughed in Monahan's face in winner's circle at the PGA. Like Monahan tried to shake it, or like he tried to shake Monahan's hand,
And he
and like Monahan
cold-shouldered him.
yeah, kind of like, and he was like, and Brooks was like, like, dude,
It's not that big a deal, man.
and you're about to cave.
Uh-huh.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you're the one that's going to have to wear this, not us. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming to our party, man. You know what I mean?
Welcome.
It's
The real, obviously, the people that are the most upset are the guys that clearly had offers from LIV that could have made life-changing money.
Right.
Yeah.
That didn't take
That's
it on
the-
this
that's
moral
the
stand.
one.
Right.
And then your boss or whatever
Right.
turns around and does the same deal that you were told not to take.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is good for golf because now there's more money in the pot. Like there's more money in the coffer, which means that like the lower level players, what have you, mid-tier guys will start getting paid more for coming in, 20th. So the money goes
purse
up.
sizes will increase.
Right,
with
absolutely,
this.
they'd have to.
well, and I think what we all want, putting them all together on one course, you're going to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the best
You know what
product.
I mean? Like, you're going to have now the best players in the world playing against one another.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, do you really know what every league's owners and
No.
business people are in bed with? I mean,
No.
you really want to know what
You
Jerry
don't wanna
Jones and
know.
Robert Kraft are up to?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you really want to know
Uh-huh.
what Steve Ballmer's up to?
Uh-huh.
You know, like, I mean, it's not our world.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're in bed with some grimy people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if you really are, dictating your fandom or your support on teams for that, it's probably going to be a lonely sporting life for you. You know what I mean? Like if you're just going to be a mortal fan, like
Yeah.
go, play with the teams that play by the rules and do everything right. I mean, I don't know where they are.
I know.
I mean, Duke basketball is the biggest cheat in the history of the game. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they'd walk that guy out of there with a suit and tie and told you he was a Marine. You know, I mean, like, I mean, that was, I mean, you think
wonder-
Zion went there for free,
Right.
right? I
Will
mean,
we learn anything
that's-
about this from Full Swing? Like,
Oh,
surely
yeah,
they're
they
gonna
said they-
show- they're still filming, right?
Yeah, they
Oh, it
said
has
they,
to
they
be.
put it out on
to
tweets like, "Don't worry, we got it. We've been
Has to
filming."
Yeah.
Has
And
to.
so
That'll
that's
be
going to be
interesting.
that'll be a full star turn.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they said in the meeting that somebody stood up and called Monahan a hypocrite right to his face.
I'm
Co-
sure.
if I'm Monahan, I'm watching my back.
Yeah.
I'm really.
Oh my
I mean, like,
God.
I'm watching my
He's getting
back.
death threats.
Has to be.
Has to be.
I mean, Coach, could you imagine waking up this morning, turning down a 7-figure deal within the last 6 months, and then realizing,
Oh.
You're the guy that I turned it down for, and the whole time you've been
a sleaze
shivving behind our back.
Yeah, they didn't like him to begin with. But
Right.
This just puts credence to like.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way he can make this. I mean, I understand that he is in the position that he's in, but I mean, at some point the players are going to be like, "Get this bum out of here."
Well, and that's the other side of it is the players used to think this like the PGA is kind of pitched as a player-run sport where like those are the faces and names that you recognize. You don't really see anything behind the curtain. It's not like a commissioner for the NBA or I mean, how often do you see Roger Goodell? It feel that's so it's obviously kind of like who's in charge. With golf, I feel like they're all kind of their own entity, and for him to make this deal behind their back without consulting any of your guys that have kind of stood up for you,
Right.
It's like how can you look at this guy in the face? And he's going to be able, obviously, with a decision like that, he can nominate himself for whatever he wants. Who's going to stop him? He doesn't have there's no rhyme or reason to it. They don't take a vote.
Right.
He just gets to keep moving because he just made the deal.
That's so weird.
And he's the one that agreed to the deal in principle with him becoming the commissioner of the new league. So don't you worry about Jay. He's going to cover his own ass. If we learned anything, he got that done. Like, all right, egg on my face. I'm a commissioner again. It's like, why would you even want the job, dude? Everybody hates you.
Right. I mean, like, dude, just duck out of here.
And he probably got to like a point his own pay because with the Saudis, like we'll pay you whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Am I wearing this egg?
$500 million later.
Remember
That's the other thing. Whenever LIV started, and that Phil was arguing with the PGA about, look, they have the money. Then $20 million showed up out of nowhere for these they started doing different events that had like the top 15, very structured, just like the LIV, where we're shorter. It was only like the top 20 players in the world, like smaller events for bigger purses. And then the PGA just threw $20 million at it. They're like, so you do have money, or you don't? Which one is it?
Right.
And now they're taking more money.
What
So
has
it's
Tiger
very
said?
interesting.
Has he
Nothing
made
yet.
a statement? Nothing.
He doesn't care.
I mean, he's not. I doubt you hear anything publicly to
Right.
criticize or compliment. It'll just probably be a statement of.
But he cared before.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, when he turned down the LIV offer, he
Well, he
cared.
he didn't tell you that.
No.
You know, I mean, like there was inside. I mean, I'm sure he leaked it to whoever he wanted to say it, but you know, I mean, Tiger he rides underneath. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
He's like Michael Jordan in that sense.
Yeah.
I think he learned a lot of that from Jordan.
Right.
You know, I mean, one of the first things he did when he got caught up in all that stuff was cut his inner circle of Barkley, Jordan, and that crew. I mean, he was like running with them, and I think that's where he had his eyes open of like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
They'll do what?
I'm on this level.
Yeah.
Like, you can do what? You can get away with what? You know, I mean, like, there's stories of like Michael Jordan on the golf course telling Tiger, like, you're in this circle, buddy.
I know. What
you
did
know
I
what I
watch
mean?
that
You don't have to
on?
worry
Was
about
that on
that.
The Last Dance?
I
What
think it was
that
on the Tiger Woods documentary, on that
That's what it
HBO
was.
Tiger
Yes.
Woods. You know, like, you know, when he was first introduced to Jordan, you know, I mean, you're meeting Michael Jordan, kind of like he's Michael Jordan, you know, and Jordan tells you when you meet him for the first time, like, hey, you're in the inner circle. You know, you're like, say what? You know what I mean? Like, even Tiger Woods was like, I mean, this is amazing.
You're a peer.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, and, you know, I mean, they live fast. You know,
Yeah,
I
they
mean, they lived, I don't know, but I mean, during that time,
Yeah.
they were in the fast lane.
Yeah.
And I think Tiger was just like, this is, to me, Tiger was a nerd growing up that was so focused on golf that by the time he looked up and realized my skill and talent can do a lot of cool stuff for me, he didn't have he didn't have the wherewithal to kind of manage it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, could you imagine like waking up at 22?
No.
You know what I mean? And being a millionaire and like Michael Jordan being like, come hang. Like,
You're Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
like I'm just as impressed to meet you as you are to meet me.
yeah, and you're like,
oh,
what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, well, you're a freak golfer. Like, oh, you like that? You know, like,
you're
Innocent
dominant.
Tiger.
yeah. Walk into that room and see what's in there. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even know that this world
Existed.
existed. I mean,
His
the next
dad
thing you know,
had
like
his
2 years in a
blinders
row,
on
you
him.
know, 2 years
Yeah.
later, I mean, he's sitting in the corner of a room with a suit on, you know, like barking to porn stars and telling them what to do. You know, I mean, on a Sunday morning, you know, he's teeing off with the lead an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right, y'all gotta go. Let me put on this red shirt.
I mean, it's, you know, I mean, but I think what he learned from Mike was that,
You're above it.
buddy,
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything. You know, I mean, what's the most controversial thing that Michael Jordan ever said that you still hear about?
Right.
Republicans buy shoes too. You know, I mean, he was probably at that moment. He was probably like, you know what? Stay in the middle, man.
Yeah.
And it was a win.
Yeah, and it was a win.
And so, obviously, if Tiger turned down $800 million, but everything that we just talked about with Tiger Woods, it's because that's why he didn't go. His legacy, all of that is with the PGA Tour. If he would have shivved the tour, he would have gotten a lot of backlash from quote unquote golf fans. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe you'll leave." Like you are the tour. And so Tiger, like, almost out of morality principle, can't take the $800 million, which is a terrible spot to be in.
Terrible spot.
But you're like, damn,
and he's
I earned it.
And he's got the star power where he could probably show up this morning and still get it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you really want me to be a part, like, I can still bail. You know, like, I'm gonna
go talk to.
You know, I can just play the Masters. You know, like these non-sanctioned events that you know I can just show up for forever and play. But you want to make it right? Here's my direct deposit. Make that $800 million happen.
Yeah.
Or you just start seeing him only in live events, and you're like, I wonder how that happened. I wonder why he's not playing too many PGA events. You're like, he's slipped on over. Because it's a better format for him. It's one less day.
Yeah, right.
His foot, ankle, back, knee.
Playing shorts. They probably let him play in a cart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, like, he's Tiger Woods. Put him in a cart.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Bring his son.
He can't walk.
He can't. That's the only thing stopping him right now. Let him play like polo.
Do you want him in the tournament or not?
Yeah.
Yes, we want him. Okay.
He doesn't want a cart. He's too old guard of golf.
Tiger, just take the cart.
Just take the money.
Just take the cart, man.
Stop overthinking it.
Right. All right, we'll talk to Jacques coming up here in hour 2. We will talk more about LSU baseball. Tigers getting set for Kentucky this weekend. We'll be rain watching once again to see what happens here with the weather, as hopefully it'll stay away for LSU. In hour 2, we'll also talk a little football recruiting. We've been reminding you and keeping you up to speed on this. Look out, man. LSU is making a move here, and they're going after this Alabama commit, this linebacker, who looks like this is going to trend in the right direction for LSU. In Sterling, I lost this kid's name.
Sterling Dixon.
Yeah, Sterling Dixon. We'll tell you about it in hour 2. LSU making a run at him. It looks like they're going to give him something to think about. We will talk more about it in hour 2. We'll also talk to Jacques coming up at 8:15. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Remember, we're brought to you daily by Katie's Restaurant. Katie's is located down on Iberville Street in New Orleans. You can find them down there right in the heart of Mid-City. St. Louis-style pizza, cold beer, friendly staff. Get in there today for the taste of the city, the sounds of the city, the scenes of the city over at Katie's in Mid-City, katie'sinmidcity.com. katie'sinmidcity.com. You can find them there every single day. And great happy hour, great crowd, great service. Go find them over there, katie'sinmidcity.com. We'll be back with hour 2 right after this. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net, online And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyra Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.show.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
All right, welcome back here to a Wednesday edition to the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders. Shout out to Rhett Bourgeois and his crew. Get in touch with them at rmb-builders.com or on Instagram. Easy way to find them at R&B Builders. Metropolitan Health Group, Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. Remember, we've been reminding you about Mr. Fun's Travel. Jason Ramazan and the crew over at Mr. Fun's Travel putting together a trip to Orlando for the opening game of the season for LSU versus Florida State. Of course, as always, first-class accommodations with Mr. Fun's Travel, as they'll be taking off round-trip air transportation from New Orleans to Orlando on Southwest. You got round-trip airport and hotel transfers, 3-night hotel accommodation over at the Hilton in Orlando. You check in on September 1st, check out on Monday, September 4th. Get to the game, from the game. They got you pre-registered at the hotel. They take care of it. First class as always. Ramo and the crew over at Mr. Fun's Travel. To learn more and book your trip today, go online to MrFunsTravel.com. That is MrFunsTravel.com to find out how you can keep up with that. I know that they've got a future trip to Vegas in the works right now for the league game of 2024. So they got a lot of cool stuff coming up with Mr. Fun's Travel. But if you want to hop on that Orlando trip, still spots available for you to hop on, and easy to find them online at MrFunsTravel.com. All right, we're going to talk to Jacques coming up here at 8:15 as JD will be through, and we'll get his ideas on the regional last weekend and the super coming up. Speak of the devil,
JD.
Let's put him in here.
Shift change.
Yep. Come through, JD. We're good. We're live, so watch your wise cracks as you walk through here.
JD always did have a vile mouth.
Right. He's either coming with a Kent Lowe, a pulmonary, or somebody when he shows up. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we are live. We are live.
All right.
We are live.
I got a, speaking to Kent, we were shooting B-roll of practice, and he was walking, and I was getting a shot of Kent. And he said, "Cobble, come over here." And so he put his arm around Cobble to get Cobble in the Channel 9 shot. So it was funny.
That's right. Always biased, that Kent Lowe. Last weekend was, look, Jay Johnson, we were here on Friday morning when we were speculating they were going to start Skeens, and the chat was melting. He made the announcement, about 30 minutes before start time on Friday, and the message boards went nuclear. You get past the weekend and you're 3-0 and you're hosting a super regional. It all kind of worked out for you. What was your reaction to just kind of the way it worked out for LSU this weekend?
I think it had to be one of the more hotly debated decisions an LSU coach has made in recent memory. I was trying to think back, but yes, everyone was going back and forth on it and the decision. And look, the weather gods, the baseball gods, it all lined up. LSU played the minimum. They played the 3 games. Skeens ate up the 9 innings, didn't touch the bullpen. And the whole key to the weekend, obviously, is Sunday, the game that should have been played Saturday because of all the weather. But I felt like in that first Oregon State matchup, LSU was whiffing on all the early on before the rain delay. Yeah. They were whiffing on all the big opportunities, all the things in a big game where you kind of choke, so to speak, like the Saints playoff games late in the Drew Brees era where you kick the field goal early instead of scoring the touchdown. Right. It's the old, okay, bases loaded. 2 outs in the first, but they don't score. Bases loaded, 1 out in the second. They don't score. Jordan Thompson tries to make a play at home that he shouldn't try to make. It's 3-0. Then the rain delay, they bring in Thatcher Hurd. Okay, we're really going for it here. Right. Guy for Oregon State hits the ball high. It's kind of, that thing's drifting. That thing's drifting.
Oh no!
It's out of here. It's 3-0. Then the next batter hit a double off him.
Right.
It's like this thing is, the whole crowd is kind of blasé because they're exhausted from rain delays and all that. But Josh Pearson's, Hurd settles in, gets out, and Josh Pearson's triple, I thought, was the biggest hit of the weekend. Because as Drew Brees used to say, sometimes when they would struggle and not get that first down, the first down, we call it breaking the seal. They get that first down, then they start rolling. Right. And now I felt like that Pearson triple really got it going. Dylan Cruz playing his first regional at the box ever, the MVP. They gave us these to vote for the team all-regional team. I never vote on those things. When we go to SEC Media Days, I never vote.
I know, me too.
I don't know enough about everyone else.
Right.
But they did give us enough cheat sheets. First baseman. Okay, here's a list of the first baseman. Okay. And the stats and everything. I had Pearson for a while as the MVP. I was going to give it to him, but then when Cruz hit that home run
off the Tony Sashery sign.
Yeah. And to make it 7-2, I'm like, okay, this is Pearson's got a long way to go in his career.
He does. I think he's a great example of how deep this team is. I mean, for him to be the 9-hole hitter and to be as skilled and talented as he is, the way he's seeing the ball and hitting it, I think, look, if you knew him and follow him, you kind of I didn't know he could run like that. I didn't know he would be that type of spark for the team where, going into the weekend, they needed to answer the pitching questions, but offensively, you were curious on where they were going to be. And I thought, man, as impressive as they were on the mound, they were as impressive at the plate.
Yeah.
And he was just a huge spark of that.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, Jay Johnson does not like questions about leaving the bases loaded 3 times. We learned that, but and you're talking with your mouth full when you say, look, they hit 9 home runs in the 2 games against Oregon State, and 8 were solo. You'd like to put up a few more crooked numbers on the board, but the ball really carrying this time of year. I've heard some off the record discussions with coaches who don't like where the game is right now. They feel like it was in its best place around 2018, 2019, that the ball has helium in it, and there's a lot of runs being scored. No such thing, the fans, right? I mean, they like offense and everything, but they feel like it's kind of maybe trending back towards, the gorilla ball days or whatever. But, Pearson to come through like he did, and, there were a lot of questions about runners left in scoring position that had been happening a lot. And, look, Tommy White was chasing some stuff.
Yeah.
He's
pressing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I think you kind of see everybody having a good time at the party. You're like, man, I want in. You know what I mean?
I'm supposed to be driving this train.
I'm supposed to be leading this deal, right? I mean, chasing that high heat. I even thought his play in the field looked as if he was kind of, he was just kind of pressing.
Then after sitting out that game at the SEC tournament, I'm sure he wanted to say, okay, I'm back and I'm going to make a statement. And late in the game, he had that 2-run single, so he finally kind of broke through there. Trey Morgan didn't have a huge weekend either, I don't think.
I thought he played really well
defensively.
Defensively, he played really good.
And look, they won different ways. Look, the Tulane game, the offense did not explode. I think they had an RBI double by Travinsky and an RBI double by Cruz, and the other 5 runs came sacrifice route, right? Sacrifice fly, walk.
Bunt,
doing all those kind of, move the baseball.
Manufacture a run.
You're not going to hit a 10-run homer, all right? Lay down a bunt, kid. The skipper was there.
He was.
Well, what a tweet by you. He put out the picture of Skip being we were dying.
And it gave great – I loved your tweet because it gave a great point of view because Jay Johnson kept talking at him. In the press, because I was just watching Jay Johnson's post-game press conference, and he was kind of like, Skip, I mean, like what you did in the 90s, I mean, it was great, but I mean, it made everybody else better. And then he was like, kept pointing at him and referencing him. And I was laughing because I could imagine Skip in that moment, hey.
I did do that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Jay. You hear that poll?
Yeah, well, they were all sitting up there, and then at one point, they said, what a legend, and some of us were joking, who, Joe Sherman? Because Joe Sherman, the coach from Delgado, who's pretty legendary as a JUCO coach, was sitting between Maneri and Burtman, and I think Mulkey was in there at one point. And then there was Woodward, the AD. He was sitting in that crowd, too, so they were all hanging out.
Power. But LSU takes care of business, right, in 3-game sweep. What did you make of kind of Johnson in those post games? You mentioned he gets a little.
He's got, I agree with some people that say, well, one media guy in particular that I talked to says he's a football coach coaching baseball. He doesn't like talking about injuries. He closed practice. Doesn't want to talk about who's the starting pitcher. I'm fine with all that. It's whatever. I thought when they won the first Oregon State game, he said afterwards, if we won this game, it wasn't final, and if we lost this game, it wasn't fatal, which is what you have to tell your players. The psychology, you don't want them thinking, oh, man, if we go in the loser's bracket, it's over. But if they did go in the loser's bracket, it was over, I think. The fact that he pitched, that he teamed Thatcher Hurd up with Ty Floyd, look, if
Told
they
you
lose
everything you needed to know.
Yeah, exactly. If they lose that game, they got to play Sam Houston State right after that. Then they got to come back and beat Oregon State twice. And then this thing could have lingered into Tuesday because they got the first game in, and then about 5:30, it was raining cats and dogs. It stormed like crazy. So I don't know if they would have had to play deep in the night or what would have happened. But, yeah, you did not want to go. And even in this game, they were kind of, I don't want to say they were limping to the finish line, but Oregon State was starting to put some runs on the board in which, like, okay.
Right, like get out of here. I mean, like, put these guys on a plane. Get them out of here. I mean, they were offensively scary.
Yeah, they, I mean, great program. The coach was asked after the game about the LSU lineup, and he wasn't over complimentary. He was just kind of like, well, I see our lineup when I look at them. We're both pretty good. And so, yeah, you could argue, is Kentucky a better team than Oregon State? I guess so. They're in a super regional. But is it harder to win a regional with this team than a super regional because of the pitching?
I think so. I think that's a great way to put it. When you watch this team and you see them up to this point, you have a great point of view, right? Because the beginning of the season, for as much as you cover sports individually within the season, you were running all over the place. You were at the SEC title game. You were at women's basketball. You were all, like when LSU Baseball was kind of setting themselves up as the number one team in the country, you were still kind of on different assignments. By the time you got to them and were covering them full time, they were still number one, but they were about to head into that stretch where you were wondering, how good are they? When you woke up Monday morning or Tuesday morning, did you have that feel again where I kind of feel like they've reverted back to more where they were the first 8 weeks of the season rather than the last 5?
Yeah, it's funny. I think so early in the year, I think I covered like the first 20 whatever games when they went to Round Rock and all that stuff, and then I got on the women's basketball, and then when I came back, I think the first series I covered was that Kentucky series, which ironically, they're coming here. That's the Super Regional. That was April, and in that series, they the first game, as they've looked in many Friday night games, they smoked them. It was 16-6.
That's right.
LSU won. Then the second game, LSU was in control 6-2. And I think Griffin Herring came in and they booted the ball around. And I think Kentucky put up a 5-spot twice and then won that game 13-10.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Sunday, Tommy White got hit by a pitch with the bases loaded to win that one 7-6. So that was like the first SEC series I covered. So it was interesting that third game they started Christian Little.
That's right.
And he went 3 1/3 and didn't give up a run, I think.
Yeah, it was one of his better outings this season.
And so at that now, are they going to put Christian Little in the game? Doesn't seem like it. So things change. Yeah. But I think postseason is just about grinding through it and surviving. Sometimes you don't hit on a high level. I mean, we saw that with the women's basketball team. They had to grind through some games in which they didn't play offensively all that well, but they found a way to win. And so now I think you're in a situation, Jordy, where look. And I agreed with, I heard Doug Thompson talk about the crowd. The fans that showed up were extremely loud. The ones that were there, they couldn't have been any louder. Mm-hmm. And it's not a slam on people not showing up because the thing was so stretched out and everything that, and you see it a lot, that sometimes the regular season crowds are the best when you're playing your most important games of the year later. I saw it happen. I've seen it happen with softball where they've had 2,500 for a big weekend series where the weather's great in the spring, and then you're hosting a regional and it's not nearly as packed. But I think this weekend, knowing, okay, no matter what, these are the final games at the box. Let's just play 2 games and get out of here. I think it's going to be electric this weekend.
Yeah, Skeen's final start at the box on Saturday.
Dylan Cruz's final games. Yeah. You would think Trey Morgan's final games.
Gavin Dugas.
Beloso, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Beloso's got, I think he's got the 3rd best batting average on the team. He's hit 13 home runs.
13.
I mean, 13 home runs. 30.
Him and Travinsky's weekend of going double back-to-back is...
In consecutive days, the Travinsky in the dugout, he's like, did he just leave again? Like,
it was,
all right, let's
and
go.
He golfs them out. I mean, like, it was.
Beloso hits no doubters, and it doesn't look like, I mean, obviously Travinsky's are, that's light tower power. Unbelievable. And then Cage is like a short little sweet swing, and he just pokes it over right, and it's like, oh, he just went, okay, that's 2.
10 home runs, 82 at-bats, Travinsky.
It's unreal. I mean, some of the talent that they have offensively on this team is... It's embarrassing how good they are offensively. I mean,
he talked about Pearson. Pearson was in the lineup early, kind of cooled off. Other guys get hot, and
I mean, remember Bear Jones? I mean, like
even there was the Kentucky series, where he's the one that bat flipped and cussed at the pitcher.
Did you say Barrett Jones?
Bear.
Oh, okay.
No, not
because Barrett Jones was the center at Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Time to restore order. Get out of here, you fat nerd. So this weekend, I agree with you. I think this is LSU baseball at its finest, right? I mean, you got 3 games to win 2, and if you win them, you go to Omaha. This is an SEC series essentially for a trip to the big dance.
Yeah, it really is. What I remember the most about Kentucky in that series was how chatty they were. They talk, and they don't shut up,
that's
man.
Right. Skeens was in a kind of like, remember he was walking, he was kind of steadily head nodding them. And
well, after the series, he said something like, the guy stared at me when he came to the plate. Then I struck him out, and he stared at me walking back to the dugout.
What do you want?
I just remember the fans behind me too, the regulars, the K-ladies of the world and the
Chris Guillots
and everything. They're like, wow, for Kentucky baseball, which they're good, but they're not Florida, they're not Vanderbilt, they're not Mississippi State in terms of tradition and everything. They talk a lot, and I think that kind of drips down from the head coach. From what I understand, he's kind of a John Cohen again, a bit cocky and brash, and a little Tony Vitello in him.
Well, and he plays a different style, right? Like, I mean, he likes to kind of small ball you. He likes to kind of, especially a team like LSU, who's big, strong, and fast.
Yeah,
They just want to overpower you.
They steal a lot. They like small ball, hit and run, like that type of team. So that's where, obviously, there's going to be it's going to be a hotly debated topic who plays catcher, because Milazzo was used a lot to control the run game, but with Travinsky, obviously you want him in the lineup.
Travinsky's a big dude, man. I saw Hester yesterday, Jacob Hester. I said, man, we were talking. I was like, man, he could play with you. He could have played football for LSU with his size and strength and everything. But and Skeen's line in that Kentucky game, they won with 10-run rule, but it wasn't one of his cleaner lines. I think he gave up like 5 runs or something in 6 innings, which, he's human. He's not as Paul Maneri, he's not a robot, Jordy. I mean, the kids aren't robots. But he gave up a few runs in that game. But I was thinking about it this week, and it's like, wow, winning a regional isn't as easy as what they thought, huh, Jordy? You just fall out of bed and win a regional.
How about hanging on to assistants, Coach?
Yeah, right. No, another pitching coach. He didn't say that. That's me. But I would.
What did you think of the timing of that?
That was one of the bizarre things I've ever covered, because we're going down on the field. The game's over. The team huddles up. Jay gives his usual post-game talk. They break. They're all walking back. Then I see Jay say, "Hey, go get the guys back." And so apparently at that point,
the news was breaking.
The story had broken that Wes Johnson was going to be the new head coach at Georgia. So he gathers them back up in the right field, and you can hear a little smattering of like applause because they've just announced, hey,
congratulations to Coach Johnson.
Congratulations to Johnson. He's going to be the head coach. And look, I saw some people slamming Pete Thamel about his timing, and I think Pete Thamel actually did LSU a favor, because he probably had the story for a while.
Well, Jay Johnson in the postgame was like, we've known this for like 5 days.
So instead of him putting it out between the Tulane and Oregon State game, which would have really caused chaos, okay, he waited till LSU punched their ticket. They're moving on. You can't expect him to hold a story like that through a super regional. Someone else is going to break it. But he's not a guy who usually reports on college baseball, so that was
it was a little peculiar. Yeah, right.
It came out of right field, so to speak, where LSU was in post game. So yeah, that was interesting. Am I shocked that Wes Johnson's leaving after 1 year? No. But to become a head coach, I am a bit surprised, because I think he's 50, 51, and I don't think he's ever been a head coach before. So, and then you hear about what he was being paid at LSU, or is Georgia matching that? Is it, you would think. Right. So, I don't know.
And look, Jay Johnson he's had to make these hires both years he's been here, and he's for what he's been asked to do, he's knocked him out of the park. So I'm anxious to see where he goes.
Well, yeah, the 2 guys that left last year both became head coaches.
Yeah.
And so I do know that I think Jay, his hero, or a guy that he really idolizes, is Nick Saban. And I remember at one point, Steve Schneider and I, we were bored one day. We broke out the LSU media guys and did a list of the assistant coaches that left when Nick Saban was the head coach at LSU. It was like 4 left after 2000, 3 left after 2001.
Yeah.
It was like 10 guys in the first 3 years. You know, Pete Jenkins about had a stroke and dropped.
Right. I remember Rick Trickett. He dropped.
Oh yeah.
He left like before the bowl game the first year.
Who was the guy that was going to be the defensive coordinator?
John Thompson.
From Arkansas?
He took the Arkansas job on a recruiting trip.
Oh.
With Saban.
Well, yeah, didn't he come down? He took the job. He and Saban rode around the car, and then he's I'm out of here.
Yeah, he was like, Coach, I think I'm going to take the Arkansas job. I think he left him in
Didn't
Monroe.
Didn't he leave him? Yeah.
Yeah, he left him in Monroe.
So, yeah, I mean, Coach Johnson, Jay, has had some turnover his first couple of years. I think Wes was on the same page as Jay in terms of their work ethic. Because, full disclosure, Wes Johnson's a neighbor of mine. We live in the same neighborhood. So a lot of times I go to bed at night, I'd see the truck, and then I'd get up in the morning, go for a jog or whatever, walk around 7:30, the truck is gone. So, I mean, they share the same work ethic. Now, did things change over the last month in terms of their pitching approach? I hear people say, "Oh, I'm watching them in the dugout. They don't seem to be interacting the way they should." That kind of stuff can get overblown, or you're reading something that's not there. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm sure they'll get another great pitching coach and they'll move on.
Would you go to Omaha?
Yes. Yeah, I go if they go. So I've already talked to Rob about where we're going to possibly stay.
It's a great trip.
It is. Yeah, I mean, and the weather this time of year, it's cool, and there's a lot of debate about the new park as opposed to the old park.
Yeah,
obviously much more corporate, buildings in the background of the skyline. It doesn't have the college feel of Rosenblatt and the zoo and parking in people's yards and the neighborhood and all that made that place famous and great. But it's like the new Ellick box. I was talking to Ronnie Rance last week. The old box will never be duplicated. People were sweating, and people's legs were like touching because they're all like jammed in there. And you were strictly there for the baseball, as he put it.
Right.
There's a slight wine. I don't want to say wine and cheese aspect, but you got the sky boxes and people are drinking. And,
right.
And they're
is it in a delay?
Oh, let me go back to my box. I won't be leaving.
They had sushi there, Jordy, like the first couple of years. Right? Who wants to eat sushi at a baseball game?
It gets too hot.
So it's a different thing, but still it'll be loud and it'll be great and all that.
Red, Rock, and Blue, summertime, right?
Yeah, I think our the Catery reunion show featuring the return of Amos Moses for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Wow.
To benefit Red, Rock, and Blue, Chris LeBlanc, some other great bands. That's going to be July 8th at the Varsity. Chase Tyler and Ben Ragsdale and some other country guys. July 21st at the Varsity. And then August 19th at the Varsity, multi-platinum artist Vertical Horizon. Katie, you remember Vertical Horizon?
What are some songs? I'm not sure.
Closing Time?
Jordy's everything you want. He's everything you need.
I know that one.
The most played song of the year 2000. Number one on the number one chart.
Really?
And then maybe Moscona. You're a god and I am not. And just kidding.
No, you're not.
That was
oh my God, that was so good.
Since we don't play the celebrity game anymore, I got to get my summertime hello to Moscona. So,
that's right.
That was
and,
good.
It's not so bad. You're only the best I ever had. It got remade to a country song.
Was it not Closing Time? Closing Time?
Closing Time, I think, was Semisonic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's right.
Stewie, I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Google Stewie. I'm sorry, or Lloyd. Google Closing Time song. I think that
Who
was
did
a
you
band
say?
called Semisonic.
Semisonic.
1996.
Yeah, it was
It
the
does seem
Semisonic.
right. It
good
does,
pull
yeah.
there, JD.
Well, I was in college. I felt the song was always contrived. I thought they
It
wrote
was
this
great
song.
for the bar.
Yeah, we're gonna write this song, and when the bars close, they'll play this, and they did.
They did.
And they did.
They did.
They did.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, or when a game ends, they play that. I always remember 2008 when LSU lost to be out of Omaha to North Carolina. They played what's that song by Daughtry? I'm going home to the place. I was like, man, this is really turning the knife on LSU. So,
JD, good to see you on the desk tonight.
yeah, well, I think Steve's on the desk. A busy day. Gonna go shoot some 7-on-7 high school football. I think we're starting our high school football previews next Monday, June 12th. Sportsline Summer Camp. And then LSU Baseball's got media availability today with Coach Johnson and some players. So
Nice.
We'll be doing that. This busy day.
Follow our friend Jacques on Twitter as always at Jacques Doucet. You can always catch him every Wednesday right here with us. Remember Red Rock and Blue, redrockandblue.com. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
All right, welcome back here to a Wednesday edition Jordy Culotta Show live, powered by our friends over at RMB Builders. Get in touch with Rhett and the crew at rmb-builders.com. Appreciate Jacques coming through here on this Wednesday. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we will take it here to get you out of here.
Are we doing mailbag today?
We have any mailbag questions?
Nah.
Got any texts? Any tweets?
Nobody wants to talk to us.
Any mailbags?
Concerns? Life advice.
We have plenty of that.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten a voicemail since April 10th.
What a great segment.
And what?
Wow.
Oh, life advice is great.
It's a great
especially from who it's coming from.
It's a great
Yeah,
segment.
it is. Circumcision, things like that.
Oh, yeah, I can do a life advice. Mine's going great.
Your circumcision's going great?
Yeah,
Or your life?
2-time circumcision survivor. 2X.
That's so weird.
Wait, hold up. You said
know
2
this.
times?
Yeah.
Why'd you have to go twice?
I guess the mission wasn't finished according to members of the household, so they just finished it up at home.
Oh, see. Nah.
Is that weird?
Couple martinis.
Like, can you tell?
No, I don't think so. But I don't have a lot of points of reference.
Get them out. Let's compare.
Yeah.
Check the foreskin. Let's see what that foreskin looks like.
I think it healed up nicely.
Everybody line up. There's 5 of y'all.
You're the judge?
Yeah.
Jury?
Who else is going to be?
Executioner? JD?
No, he's got to get in on it too.
Oh, okay.
Everybody line up.
Everybody with the penis.
Saw Kent Lowe at the baseball game the other day. He's just like walking around.
McDonald's cup?
No. He's just walking around. Just
Yeah, hell yeah.
Kent?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Seeing Kent on like the sidelines for basketball, it's just he's
Keeping his
the
numbers?
last of a dying breed.
He is.
That's the
He's one of the lifelines still left on LSU's campus that's attached to the history.
Exactly.
Jacques would be grateful in this conversation, but I mean, there's only is that microphone hooked up?
Yeah.
Jacques, come sit real quick. Sit right here.
Sit
Sit right here.
Come have a seat right over here.
We're having a historical reference on LSU's campus. Kent Lowe, Bill Franquez, Greg Stringfellow are 3 that pop to mind first here of 3 characters that are tied to the past of LSU athletics that still have an idea of like the generation that you and I speak of. There's not many I mean, I'm sure I'm missing somebody, There's got to be an equipment manager. There's got to be. I mean, Stringfellow. I mean, Stringfellow was. I mean, issuing equipment to
Yeah.
I mean, Will Clapp's dad.
That's
Seriously.
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's Bo Bordelon's dad.
Right.
Dan
Bournay.
Walker Howard. Dan Bournay's a great one.
Dan Bournay.
Dan Bournay would be a great one.
I mean, I think even some of the people that work security at LSU, you could include.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't think Ted Stickles is around anymore. He retired and he came back and was kind of hanging out. But, I mean, those kind of people can tell you stories galore.
That's right.
They've been standing at those gates for decades.
Right. In fact, I believe at the main entrance of the box, the security guard there is from the old box. Like when I was walking in a couple of weeks ago, she was like, stopping, hugging everybody. Everybody knew her by name. It might have been, but her face is recognizable like to the old box.
What was that name? Dorotha.
Dorotha. That's what.
Doretha?
Or Doretha?
I think it's Doretha.
I always, yeah. I just would. The way when I heard it, I always think Dorothy, but I know it's not Dorothy, so it's
Lois Stuckey.
Dorotha.
Lois Stuckey's a great one.
Virginia, who was the baseball.
Virginia's the baseball secretary.
Well, hello, Jacques.
Yes.
How are you today?
Cheerio.
I love hearing her talk.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, is Coach there, Virginia? I'm not sure, Jacques. Let me check.
Is she English?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
She found her way here.
Who is? I'm trying to think. The gatekeeper on the 6th floor. When you walk up there, she is the first. You open up the elevator, and she's been there. Golly.
Black lady.
Yep. Silver hair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's an M in there, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think. Renee, who's the basketball secretary, women's basketball. She's been there a long time.
Wanda Carrier was there for a long time.
Wanda Carrier. Yeah, she was one of the last, part of that last of the Mohicans retired recently. But yeah, I mean, Bill Franquez, I mean, you could not have created somebody better for that job than Bill Franquez.
No.
And I say job, and he does like 10 jobs.
He does.
And I talked to Maneri. I mean, full disclosure, I talked to Maneri one time. So the Tiger Rag magazine puts out every year. They call it the Money Edition, what each guy gets paid.
That's right. That's right.
And everything. And I came to Franquez's name, and I strongly disagreed with the salary. And I told Maneri, like before the start of last year, I'm like, this guy is the PA announcer. He types the post-game stories that he emails out. He does the post-game interviews with the head coach. He organizes this, that. I mean, he does like a main job.
And not just on the weekends. Like he's there on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
He's there every single game. Every game he's there.
And by the way, he's a broadcaster.
That's right.
On
He's the road color commentator.
Right. The word encyclopedia doesn't mean anything to anybody under the age of 30 these days, but he's an encyclopedia of LSU baseball. Wikipedia of LSU baseball.
And he really is of LSU sports. I mean, LSU baseball is his deal, and he is the elite at that. But he's been around for such a long time, and he's such a smart dude.
Yeah.
That you can talk to him about just about any era of LSU athletics, and he is like that. I mean, he's encyclopedia.
He'll recall. It was a Sunday game.
No doubt.
We were down to the last 2 outs.
It was so crazy. It was sunny that
Ray
day.
Wright hit a 2-run double into the left field corner.
And from a public address standpoint, I know that that's all we know, but I mean, you listen to game. There is not a more confident, firm voice that can narrate a full stadium and capture people's attention like he does. I mean, I rarely hear Dan Bournay during a basketball game and during a football game, and that's no disrespect. I mean, that's more about the environment. I mean, you're so kind of caught up in the game. You got to get away from it, and you're like, I didn't even realize Bournay going crazy on that touchdown call. I hear everything Bill Franquez says at the box. And I think it's because of just his delivery into the microphone.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I mean, it's just like so soon. It's like, man, this is.
Well, he told me he always emulated the New York Yankees
guy. That's right. Jack
Sterling?
Yeah, Sterling. And number 2, Derek Jeter.
And then he repeated
number
Jeter.
2. Yeah.
And so, a quick story about that. When we were doing a story, when they closed the old box in 2008, we did a story on the last games of the box and this and that. Well, when Skip became the coach in '84, The first PA announcer. Do you know who the first PA announcer?
First PA announcer in LSU history in baseball?
The PA announcer, what Franquez does now, there was one before him. Richard Condon.
Oh, my God.
So Condon, I interviewed him. He goes, like the first games, Condon would get out there and they were playing Tulane. And he'd be like, and now batting with a precious little blue batting helmet. And he said that Bert...
You couldn't make a worse pick.
And he said Bertman came out of the dugout with his hands on his hips and was like, looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? and according to Condon, he said Herb Vincent told him, like,
you're done.
Yeah, we have to let you go. And it's like, something like they were paying him like $10 a game.
Up there, dude. Cut off T-shirt. Please welcome to the plate in his cute little blue helmet from Marrero.
He's from Marrero.
Doing professional wrestling at the box, basically. You know. It's Bertman, so they fired him, and then went totally the other way.
Right, like just go with Bill.
Don't get me back.
Go with Bill. Go with Bill.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I got that on tape somewhere.
Oh,
right?
that is so good. I bet you Condon telling that story with me.
Oh, he did the whole Bertman. He goes, it is Bertman coming out number 15.
You got something to say to me, pal?
Hey, what are you looking at, Skip?
Coach the game.
So
back in the
it's so good.
Yeah, those first and Bertman talking about his first game at the box. He goes, and the people, they just sat there and stared at the game like this, and you could hear the birds.
That's right.
And the PA announcer
you used
did
to
it.
hear the birds chirping.
So,
JD, thanks for hopping back on with us, man.
Oh, well,
So
what
good.
else am I going to do, Lloyd?
Nowhere else to go.
Richard Condon, dude, I can see.
What a pick.
Oh, man, Condon. How did he get that gig? Cool. Skip was probably like, boy, did we screw this up. I mean, like, get him out of here. Get out of here. All right, everybody have a good Wednesday. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Don't forget Red Rock and Blue, redrockandblue.com. And check us out on YouTube. If you've not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.